essentially, when you do day game properly, when you approach, where you're going in with good intentions, you're giving the girl enough distance, you're making sure that first and foremost that she's comfortable, right? And you go in and you're polite, give a genuine compliment. Even girls that might be feminists, right? Especially maybe they're online feminists, even those women respond fairly well. They might be a little bit dismissive, but very, very rarely you're going to get any mean reactions. So when day game is done properly, it's a win-win. You're basically approaching someone and giving them a light, genuine compliment. Hey, I like your style. I thought you look cool. Something like that. Nice hat, whatever, right? What's bad about it? Nothing, obviously. Worst case, you've just kind of like cheered her up a little bit. And the amount of times that it's happened to me and the guys I've coached where they approach the girl, give her a genuine compliment, and she just she can't stop smiling. She's really happy, and then gives a genuine thank you so much, you've made my day. However, I'm married, or I have a long-term boyfriend, but thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming over and saying hello. Happened today with the guy I was coaching. The girl literally said, like, thank you so much. However, I'm of Pakistani heritage. I don't date men outside of my culture, but thank you so much, coming over and saying hello. I really, really appreciate it. And it's very bold and courageous of you to have come up to me like that, And she encouraged him to keep at it, so that's a win-win interaction. The guy obviously is getting better at approaching. He's made her day. He's also kind of cheered himself up, and it's good to get that positive kind of feedback, once you actually try this out in the real world, you realize the reactions you get are so different than what the online would make you think. Like most people, when you're face to face with them and you're polite and, dare I say, gentlemanly, like you're not going to get any awful reactions. And if you ever did, then clearly the girl has an issue with something, or someone, or with herself,
and the key thing is, exactly, it's like it's out of your control. You can only control what you can control, and which is going over there and giving a good impression and giving it good value. Everything else you don't even have to worry about.
As long as you go, listen, like if I go over there and I'm polite and I go with good vibe, good intentions, right? 99% of the time I'll get fairly decent reactions. I'm very good at reading like signals if someone's comfortable and wants to engage in a conversation. That's what I teach a lot, like basically being able to see if the girl's comfortable or not. If she's not comfortable, then oftentimes the best thing is to say, cool, anyway, have a lovely day, and then just end it on a high note. But there's a point I'm trying to remember what I wanted to say. Anyway, doesn't matter.
I 100% agree with all of that. And the way I see it is that, like, when they get so, like, the thing is with day game, it's like, it's in the media, it's got a bit of a controversial kind of undertone to it, when really it shouldn't be like that, because fundamentally all it is that you're a guy, you happen to see another girl who you find attractive, and you just want to go over there and say hello. That's all there is to it. And that's been happening for generations. And, it doesn't matter if it's done nowadays predominantly over, over like on a digital screen or whatever, ultimately, you're going in with good intentions. And when you really boil it down, it's just a man going over to a woman, giving a compliment, seeing if there's some kind of connection that can be built. If there is, great, fantastic. Maybe they'll meet again at some point. And if not, then that's fine as well. No worries. At least, everyone feels good for having done it. I always try to simplify it, looking at it from that perspective. I just don't get why or how it can possibly be seen as controversial. And, it's a bit of a shame that, sometimes in the media they try and demonize it when really it's actually a really quite a kind of an innocent and actually pure activity to actually do.
Of course. I mean, like, it's there's no catfishing involved, you're presenting yourself, you're taking it takes courage to kind of just approach a stranger, it's not easy for most guys, and pretty much almost all the guys I've coached have been really sweet, genuine guys, that ultimately they all just want a nice girl, a nice girlfriend. Some guys might want to experiment a little bit, but the vast majority of dudes would be happy with a cute girl, that's just pleasant. Like, most dudes that do this are not trying to be, I don't know, Dan Bilzerian or anything,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, some might be, some might, I've seen quite a few guys actually who, they want to, yeah. But and even then, in my opinion, if somebody wants to date multiple girls and be a bit of a player, I don't actually think there's anything necessarily wrong with that either, as long as you're honest and as long as you're not kind of screwing anyone over. I actually feel that is actually genuinely an okay thing to do, but it's about the way in which you do it rather than the actual activity itself. It's always, in my opinion, it's about the means by which it's done rather than demonizing it for what it is inherently, because there's a lot of nuance with this stuff, and I feel like in the media they just try and ignore that and they just try and project their own agenda, whereas there is so much nuance to this and there's always a reason why something is the case.
Yeah. The point I wanted to make earlier was this, actually. So I think because I've been doing this so long, right? I'm really, really good at picking up, social cues, seeing if someone's comfortable or not comfortable, and doing my best to try and make them feel at ease. But essentially, like the way I coach guys, it's coming from a place. It's coming from a place of empathy. Essentially, the better you are at empathizing with the girl, the better your interactions are gonna be, really. And I think this is what I want to say. I think guys that are good at pickup are really good at seeing these signals and then leaving. Essentially, like I'm always looking for, you could say, consent. I'm constantly seeing whether the person I'm speaking to is feeling comfortable or not. And if I sense that she's not very comfortable, I'll probably just end it there. I don't ever need a girl to tell me to fuck off. I can sense any kind of negativity or just like bad mood, and then just leave. And so I think pickup guys are in some ways develop better empathy than just dudes that have no knowledge of this.
100%. And that's the thing with this, right? Sometimes you get guys who don't know anything about pickup or Daygame. They've never watched any of this shit online. They haven't read any books, none of that stuff. They just happen to be confident guys who, they will, if they see a girl, they'll go up to her and actually just start a conversation. Maybe they've got natural ability, whatever. But, sometimes some of those guys, because they lack, I guess maybe a bit of empathy, like you mentioned, they don't really know when to quit sometimes. And so sometimes they go in with good intentions, but they can come across a bit too pushy. And sometimes the girl can sometimes feel a bit uncomfortable, even though that's not what their intention was. And so, sometimes girls will have maybe multiple experiences of that type of thing. And then all of a sudden, she's now got this perhaps slightly negative perception of guys coming up to her just because of a handful of experiences in the past. Whereas, and sometimes, you might get rejected immediately just because of that. And there's nothing you can do about that. But and that's just something just to kind of bear in mind. But the thing is, for most guys, some guys might think like, oh shit, I don't want to go and approach girls because what if I get told to fuck off, or what if I make a girl uncomfortable? But the thing is that, as you mentioned, like it's a lot of it, certainly what we coach is about kind of reading those social cues to understand, when it is coming to that point when she is actually feeling uncomfortable, and actually knowing when to stop. It is as important knowing when to stop as it is to actually know when to kind of continue and push on and stuff. And that's not even just in the actual initial day game interaction. That's like, when you're on a date with a girl, or like when you're trying to go home with a girl, all of that stuff. It's the same principle throughout the whole process, actually.
Cheers for watching. If you'd be interested in one-to-one coaching with me, where we'll go out in public and work on you approaching girls, or more generally with your social confidence, please visit my website ed-game.com.